Check, check. 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's go!
All right, here with Ben Hebert. Happy belated birthday to you, by the way.
Getting up there, big dog.
Yeah, you are. No, so listen, I wanted to ask you that. You're in great shape still. This isn't a commentary on your shape, but you guys had to go four tough games in a row to win the whole thing. Ben, yourself at 41, was that the most taxing you've had playing curling?
No, I mean, anytime you get into a deep run at the Brier, the Olympics, or the Worlds, the end of that week is 2-game, 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 and they're all heavy games against big, hard-hitting teams. The body, I mean, my body's been messed up since I've been 30, I'm not going to lie. So these last 10 years, I've been playing on some good extra strength Advil, and, I stay in as good a shape as I can. To be honest with you, at this point, it's not about having big guns or, being jacked. It's about being healthy and being good enough to be on the ice to play, because my game's real good. Mine's as good as it's ever been. Obviously, if the body can be stitched together and keep me out there and play, I can play at a super high level. But, I just turned 42 last week. So, yeah, it's not a spring chicken anymore. But, body still feels good. I had no injuries at the Brier. Felt amazing. And, I was a grind. Don't get me wrong. 4 games where I was hurting the next day. I took a few days off and came home, Cairo massage, hot tub, and a little bit of whiskey. But I'm back, baby. I'm back.
So I love the whiskey part. So is it harder mentally or physically?
Oh, way harder physically for me. I mean, sweeping at but sweeping at a high level is tough. And, I pride myself on that. There's, still believe I'm one of the best in the world at doing that. And I'm playing lead on a good team, and we've had an amazing season. And you don't get to play with players like I play with by not being effective. And so, the physical part, the mental part for me is great. Like, I got a great perspective. I've had an amazing career. I got great teammates. We're playing a sport. We're doing amazing. We're making money. Like, man, my life is so good right now. I got nothing to bitch and complain about. And so mind is great. I mean, there is some mental battles that go on out there. And, when you're playing the top teams, there's always some, doubt and confidence, highs and lows, like any other sport. It's no different than any other athlete. But, if my body can stay healthy, I'm feeling great, buddy.
Yeah, no, you're looking good. Okay, so, I don't know curling obviously as well as you. I watch it, but I'm not no expert. But like the lead gets not a lot of attention in terms of they don't really show a lot of your rocks being thrown. I know you're the greatest lead of all time in Canadian curling, as picked by TSN and Ballsy Uncut. You're my favorite curler of all time. But I wouldn't say a lot of leads get. Like, they're there with the decision-making, but they're kind of on the periphery, right? You're not like that. You're almost like a third skip. Would you say you get the most input as a lead probably in the men's division? Would you say that? Would that be a fair statement?
I don't know. It's a good question. I have input on my team. My team has given me a green light with because I've been around so long and played with Kevin Martin, Kevin Cooey, some of the best minds in the games to, share my wealth and experience in situations that I've been in. But I don't know what other teams do, to be honest with you. I'm closed doors with my team, and my team's given me that opportunity that if I see something to speak my mind. And there's been teams that I've been on that hasn't had that, right? But on this team, it's just kind of a role that I've helped out on. And Brad Jacobs is such a little beauty, and he's always up for good conversation and debates on that kind of stuff until we find our way. And because we're a new team, it's nice to know what each other's thinking. And so he always knows what I'm thinking. I'm never really I'm an open book with him, and he likes that. And we've had great success doing it. So I'm probably going to keep her rolling next week in the job.
I don't really watch much curling. I'll watch some of the Grand Slam of curling, but usually when your team, I'm not trying to sound like I'm kissing your ass, but it's usually when your team's involved, or if there's like a Saskatchewan team, okay, like McEwen, maybe like, how's he going to do? Or, that type of thing. But, looking at this team and looking at Brad Jacobs, another great skip that you're playing with, man. How good do you feel for a guy like that? Because he's been good, but I didn't realize he hadn't won a Brier in so long. Like, it's been a long drought for that guy.
Yeah, man, that's crazy for a guy with his talent, because he's an absolute superstar. And I think when he won the Brier at 13 and the Olympics at 14, I think the future, you wouldn't have been able to predict the next 10 years for Brad, not winning a Brier. Been close a couple times since then, but it takes a special team and a special group, and you need a lot of stuff to go your way to win the Brier. I mean, the reason you see us go crazy and cheer and hug and cry is because it's real tough to do. No different than winning the Grey Cup or the Super Bowl. You can have an amazing team, best player in the league, Kansas City Chiefs, Patty Mahomes, they won 2, and then this year they get boat raced in the Super Bowl. So, I mean, and then look at the Grey Cup this year, right? Big upset with the, who was it? It was Arbuckle.
Arbuckle and the Argos beat
Crazy, right? I know that Winnipeg didn't see that happening, and I think that's when you see the highs and lows of sport. That's why they play the game. Isn't that the old saying? So, Brad's been a superstar in our game for a lot of years, and so to win this one with him was extra special for me, and I think even more special for him. So I'm glad I got to be a part of it.
So you got to be good to be lucky and lucky to be good. Like, luck does factor in a little bit. Do you feel a little lucky that Gushu was up against the clock? Both of you guys were up against the clock. Like, I feel like Gushu kind of had to rush a little bit. Maybe if he had a little more time, things would have been different for him maybe.
Yeah, I mean, he's had our number the last few years, right? He's been Team Canada for 3 years in a row, and basically since 2016, 17, 18, we'd battled back and forth. We were number 116, him 17, us 18, us 19, and then basically him from 20 to 24. So we've been trying to knock him off the mountain, and yeah, he gave us a little bit of a break there in the semi, but we've given him a lot of breaks over the years too, and kind of how sports goes. I don't feel lucky. I feel like it was our time to win. I do believe we were the better team, and certainly he had a shot to win. But if we don't put one of our rocks in a spot in the 8th end to give him a shot for 3, that game's not that close in the end either. So both breaks went both ways. We're Team Canada now, and that's how I feel about that.
Yeah, we're looking forward to that. We'll talk about that coming to Moose Jaw here, which will be nice for you coming back home. But I had John Ryan on the show week or so ago. He's a regular guy, kicking it with John Ryan on the podcast, and he said you're a beauty. He was happy to see you win. But we both agreed. Like I said I got to ask Hebert when I have him on here. Is he thinking about retirement? Because here's what we both pictured. We both saw this. I know you're happy. You're a happy guy, but you looked a little more reflective when I was watching that. Like when you were done, it was like you ran over to your family. I don't know if I've ever seen that. Maybe the camera hadn't picked you up, but they did that moment before. Just your face even. It was like more like you were looking around at the crowd, looking around. It just felt like that.
Yeah, it's a good observation. I mean, it's hard when you're in those situations. I hadn't been in a Brier final since 2022. So, it'd been 3 years since I've been in the final, lost a couple semis. But anytime you get out there and you're the only sheet, you try to take it in, especially when you get to my age. Like, I know when I was young, we were winning young at 24, 25, and kind of just expected to be like that forever. And you know what? Even the years we haven't won, man, I've been lucky. I've been on a top 10 team in the world like my whole entire life. So very spoiled, great teammates, a lot of good breaks, a lot of hard work. A lot of bounces have gone my way. So, however, I mean, to really reach the pinnacle and to win that game, yeah, it's hard to do, and it's special, man. Like, I mean, I was looking around, I was taking it all in, sold out crowd, Kelowna, and certainly, the big thing for me too. And say I'm getting older, I'm not getting any nicer on the ice. Like, I am a competitive psychopath out there, and I teach my kids the same thing. I'm like, listen, be a great person, be great kids, be great friends. Treat each other with respect, treat everyone with respect. But when you get when my son plays hockey or my daughter's playing fastball or curling, I'm like, you got to be a bit of a killer. And if you're not a killer, you're going to get eaten for lunch. And I'm like, listen, you know how nice I am around the house as a dad, husband, friend, family member, employee. I have a psychotic switch that goes off in my head when I compete in any sport. Doesn't matter if it's rec hockey or slow pitch or, professional curling. It doesn't matter. It's just the way I'm wired. And I do believe that's been one of the reasons I've had great success. And I don't have a reason why I'm wired that way. Maybe my mom and dad, those are the genes, the genetics I got. But I don't know if it was taught or if that's just what I've developed. But so being out there, and trying to still do that. But at the same time, I think the big thing for me, honestly, I'm 41 years old, 42 now. Having my kids there, that was special. I won before they were born, before I was even married, right? And so for them to get to see, what I do and why I go to the rink every day and why we're in the gym and honestly, why I miss all their stuff in the wintertime. It's hard. It's hard as a dad to miss, my daughter's winter training, miss all her curling events, miss my son's hockey. It's brutal. And it's
that's where I'm going with this, Heaps. That's where
when I talk about retirement, it's not because I don't think I can play. I think I'm as good as I've ever been, truthfully, like ever been. At 41, I feel like I could play for 4 more years. If I really wanted to get in the gym and grind and throw rocks every day, I could do it. I could do it physically. I could do it mentally. I really don't want to miss those times with my kids. And I think that's why I was so emotional in Kelowna, having them there. That was really special. And, my wife's been through it all. Shit. She's been grinding for 20 years. So, she's seen all the highs and lows too. She has to deal with the mood swings when we win and when we lose. And, but to have my kids there and them to see it, that was why I was really reflective and took it all in. It was special.
No, that's a good point. That's what I was thinking when I was leading up to this interview. And after I watched that, it's like, it's not that you can't play. You're a physical specimen. You still can do it. Ryan and I were talking about that, but you got kids now, man. And I can't imagine missing some of those things. Cause the one thing you can have all the money in the world, all the trophies. One thing nobody can manufacture is more time. That's one piece of advice I say. Time is the most important currency anybody has.
I hear you, and I've been lucky, man. Like, I got to live way more dreams out than I ever had. I was a kid growing up in Saskatchewan. I wanted to go to the Brier and represent Saskatchewan. That was my goal. And I've been to 17 of them and won 5 of them in the Olympics and the Worlds, and I'm just like way past anything I ever would have dreamt that I was ever going to accomplish. And it's my kids' time, and I feel like I need to be there for them to try to guide them down some type of path of doing the best that they can do. I don't ever expect them to have any type of resume or expectation in sport that I have, but if I can just give them a little bit of a push to be a bit of a psycho, they got a little bit of Hebert in there that they could bring out if I just get them there to push them over the edge. But I got to be there for that. I got to be there. My wife's way too nice.
so that's good. Got to balance it. So you win in Moose Jaw here, and you represent Canada at the Olympics. Couldn't you just walk away then? Couldn't that be it for you? Like, honestly, couldn't that come on, that's the best. Like, just leave. Like, what else are you gonna do? You're the best ever at your position. You've been to all these Briers, you've won all these Briers, you've been to the Olympics, gold medalist already. Like, come on, man. Like, what do you like? When stop? Well, I'm not trying to make you say you're going to retire, but it's like, if you win it all, what else are you doing?
If someone could tell me right now we could win the Worlds next week and then I could win the Olympics and I could weasel off into retirement, yeah, I'd take that. But realistically, there's a lot of curling to be done, and a lot of good things need to go our way, and we got to play excellent. These World teams are so tough, man. Way tougher to win the Worlds than it is the Brier. We're going to have to play as good as we did in Kelowna, if not better, to win. And then certainly the trials is basically like winning the Brier again. And then we got the Olympics. So, I mean, there's so many things that would have to happen. But at the same time, I've thought about it, I honestly, I'm playing it by ear. My teammates know that if it's time for me to be done, I'm going to be done. And if I feel like I could play another year or two, maybe I'll do that. But I haven't made a decision one way or the other. I'm like Aaron Rodgers, backdoor meeting with the Steelers right now. That's what I'm doing right now. I'm just not going on any secret retreat and stuff.
Yeah. Okay, we'll talk about that in a second too, because I wanted to get your thoughts on Aaron Rodgers and your Pittsburgh Steelers. John Ryan and I were also talking, like, he does his kicking drills and everything, and I know the quarterback drills, like one of the best pocket passers. He has all the mobility of a phone booth, was Phillip Rivers, but nobody could stand with guys falling at his feet, look downfield and throw the ball. Like, the guy was a stud. But I watch you curl, and John and I were amazed. Like, you're sweeping like a horse, and there's rocks everywhere, and you could be on the old Access Communications Saturday night dance party, like you're not hitting any rocks. So what kind of drills do you do, to keep your balance, keep your focus, see where you're sweeping, not kick a rock, that type of thing?
It's funny, I just switched to sweeping with my slider on probably when I was like 26 or 27. This is a hilarious story. I used to sweep with 2 grippers on, so it wasn't as easy to shuffle my feet in and out. And then I remember being really tired after going like end to end nonstop for Johnny Moe and Kmart. They were just milking me and Mark. We were juicing rocks, and I was so sick and tired of walking up and down the sheet. I was getting like 30,000 steps a game for no other reason outside of just being lazy. I took my gripper off and I started sweeping with a slider. And then it was just like the cool thing to do. You see, so and then me and Mark both did it on opposite sides. And then we were winning. So, then you're on TV a bunch, and now you see a whole bunch of these junior kids coming up, sweeping on one slider. And I'm like, oh my God, I did it out of being lazy. And then when you say what kind of drills do, I don't. I have unbelievable balance on my slider because I've done it for 30 years. But sweeping that way, it's really effective. I do like gliding with the rock. So instead of bouncing or shuffling on your feet, you're gliding with the stone. So I found my judging got a lot better when I started doing it, and that's why I stuck with it too. But no other reason than being lazy, and that kind of panned out for me in the end, and now I've kind of mastered it. But yeah, I got crazy legs when I'm sweeping. I'm just trying to put as much pressure on that broom as I can. There's no point. There's a lot of sweepers out there that sweep, and they don't do that much. And so if I wanted to look like that, I could do it, but it's tiring and it's hard if you do it properly.
Yeah, if you do it properly, and you do it properly. Now you like to get a little colorful with your language from time to time. So when the guy's throwing the rock and he's yelling off, on, hurry, hard, you know what I mean? It means it's close. Do you ever turn around and feel like saying, "Shut the fuck up! I know what I'm doing here. I'm the guy. You just threw it. I'm guiding it down. Like I know what I'm doing here."
Absolutely not. No, I would never tell that to my teammates. But at the odd time, I know we take some heat for colorful languages and that. I'm like, listen, I'm 42 years old. I'm playing a pro sport. You fans should be so grateful and lucky if you do love curling to be able to listen in to every single thing we say all game. Because truth be told, your favorite athletes in the NFL, the CFL, the NBA, Major League Baseball, NHL, if you ever mic them up, good God. So we let the odd one slip here and there in competing in the heat of the battle against the very best teams in the world. One, you should be grateful you get to listen. Two, it's absolutely nothing in the grand scheme of things if you wanted to mic other teams live in a game. Could you imagine miking a live hockey game or an NFL game?
No.
You couldn't even imagine. So for us, when people get honest about swearing, I'm just like, you're a loser. You would not be very fun to hang out with at a party. I don't care. They just have no perspective of what the high level sport, language and athletes would say to each other out there. Like curling is so minor for us to slip up every now and again. The other thing is I've been on TV about 3,000 times.
Yeah.
I don't even notice when I'm on TV anymore. I'm playing the game. I'm trying to win. And yeah, it's not a big deal for me. I know some people get a little uptight about it, but for me, it's not a big deal.
Do you know how many times I've heard the N-word on a CFL practice field? Do you know how many times you'd hear that in an NFL or a CFL game? Like it would be, they'd shut the audio off in 5 seconds. But you bring up a good point with curling. I've said this a number of times, maybe even to you. It's the best TV spectator sport. It really is in terms of getting inside. Like Russ Howard does a great job, but I don't even need Russ Howard to tell me what's happening because I can listen to you guys all talk. This is what's good, but if he rolls here, then we do this. And, like you don't get that in any other sport.
No, it is. Well, hey, and that's why the sponsors pay big money for our sport and get into the ice. And you see Montana's jump in and Scotty's has been in forever and all these ones at the Grand Slams. Like there's a reason for that. And it's an amazing spectator sport on television.
Yeah. So you're going back to Moose Jaw. That's another thing, I'm not trying to push you into retirement, but I'm trying to make a little picture here. Like you're coming back home, buddy. You're playing in Moose Jaw. Man, that would just be a cherry on top. Just talk about coming back to Moose Jaw though and playing in front of friends and family. You wanted to represent Saskatchewan in the Brier. Now you're at the Worlds. Now is that great or is it not great? Like you go to the Worlds, you don't get to go to South Korea or Switzerland. You go to Moose Jaw.
You know the number one place I'd pick to go to the Worlds? Moose Jaw. Let's go. Can't even it might be like Moose. You gotta remember the thing with Moose Jaw. So one, of course, I'm from Regina. It's 35 minutes up the highway.
Yeah.
I played so much hockey and baseball, football, lacrosse in Moose Jaw, but I grew up curling in Moose Jaw a ton. One of my teammates, Todd Montgomery, nephew of the famous Rod Montgomery, who represented Saskatchewan at the Brier a few times. I curled so much at the military base and the Hillcrest there growing up. I got so many friends and family there, and now I even got to go back 2 years ago. For my daughter's fastball team, went and played in the Jaw. I must have seen 50 to 100 people I knew from curling, and now their kids are growing up and playing ball, and that's just ball. So I can't imagine the friends and family I'm going to see in Moose Jaw that I haven't seen in years, and I can't wait to see them. All great people. Like I joke about it. I live in Alberta forever, and I do love Alberta. I'm grateful for everything it's given me, but Sasky has the best, not curling fans. Sasky has the best sport fans in the country. Any sport, they get behind their athletes. You look at football, you look at hockey, curling. Like even last year, the Brier in Regina. Hey, we weren't the home team. They were cheering for Sasky like they should. Sold out building, roaring. It was amazing. It was amazing, and we lost. So now to have them behind us, and I mean, hey, am I going to know 50% of the building? Probably. But the other 50% that I don't know, they're still going to be cheering for us too. So super grateful. Can't even wait. I got goosebumps on my arms right now just thinking about it.
That's
my
awesome.
mom, my dad, my brother, my sister, my aunts, my uncles, my cousins. I got girls I coach in ball with their moms and dads hitting Highway 1 to come to Moose Jaw to watch us. I got friends I used to curl against. My Thunder buddies, the Cabalist twins, reached out to me. They're coming to the games. Like, so many people just out of the woodworks. I was laughing after the Brier because, like, these days I'm pretty close to home. Like, I hang out with who I hang out with, and I'm so busy with my best friends are my kids' sports parents because we're with them every single night because we're so jammed. But I had 411 text messages after we won the Brier. You were one of them. You were one of them.
Yeah,
and I was like, I definitely don't have 411 friends, but I have 411 contacts somewhere in the world that cared enough about me to send me a nice message, and it was awesome to know that they were still watching and still cared, and I felt very lucky to have that support. Honest to God,
I cheer for Ben Hebert first and then Saskatchewan. That's the truth. You can ask my son. We're like, we watch, and we're not. My girlfriend's not a big curling fan. Like, she doesn't really like it. But I said, we're watching curling. My son came over. We sat in the basement, had a couple. Well, he didn't because he was training for the combine, and we were cheering for Ben Hebert. Okay, so let's talk about that. I just watched the combine. 100 of the. So I told my son, there's 91 athletes on this field. 91 of the best. Like, I didn't get a combine T-shirt. I didn't get a jersey. I didn't. So I want some advice. A guy who played football, but is also like at a high level curler. You talked about being a killer. I think that is the number one attribute, or one of the number one attributes. What else would advice you give to a young football player, hockey player, curler, in terms of if you want to be a champion, and not everybody can be champions, but have that mindset, what do they need besides being a killer?
Yeah, well, I think, I don't know the ins and outs of every sport. I can certainly speak for what happened to me is, I was a good athlete. I was working hard. I was getting pretty good at a certain thing in my sport. I think for those guys that are getting going, if they're thinking about going pro, or if they're, going to get an opportunity, NCAA Div 1 or something crazy like that, I truly believe it's about season and opportunity, like right place, right time. And then when you get your chance, you got to take it, because you might not get more than one chance. There's so many people knocking on that door. Like, I know for your son, I saw the social media stuff going off that, he was at the combine, and if he gets an opportunity and he gets drafted and he gets to a camp, you need one big play. You need someone to get injured to give you an opportunity for you to be seen. And if you take that opportunity and shine, man, the world's your oyster, and you can do anything with that kind of work ethic and hard work. But you do need an opportunity. I know for me, getting asked to curl with Kevin Martin because I was a young, in shape football player and a good sweeper. I was such a bad curler when he picked me up. I thought I was good though. Frosted tips. I was peacocking. I was coming from Fabby tan. I had a good tan. I was looking good. I was terrible. But I got a really good opportunity with Kevin Martin to learn, and I learned so much from him. And I worked so hard to become great because I wanted to prove him right and the teammates right that took a chance on me. And now, I'm trying to give some of that knowledge to, whether it be Brad or, Mark knows it because he learned it with me, but even Brett, and he played with Brad Gushu, one of the best ever. Our fifth man this week, Tyler Tardy. I was giving him some tips, and honestly, I do it with my daughter's curling team. And if my son ever wants to curl, I would do it with him too. But I really just, I got lucky. Fell into a really good spot. But as soon as I got that opportunity, man, nobody worked harder than I did. And I earned every second of it. So I feel real grateful about that.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Okay, so your buddy Aaron Rodgers might be, well, I don't know if he's your buddy. What do you think, Aaron Rodgers and the Pittsburgh Steelers? That's your team, man. Russell Wilson gone? Or maybe
is he gone?
Not? Well, he's still out there, but Fields is gone, and apparently it's just going to come. It's Aaron Rodgers' job if he wants it.
I didn't see Fields is gone. Where did he go?
No, he's a Giant. 2 years, $20 million a year. Yeah.
When did that happen?
Oh, a week. You were busy curling.
Yeah, so
then,
I would have taken Justin Fields. I would have taken Justin Fields over Russ. I would have, just because.
Yeah.
And I like Russ too. I mean, the Steelers are okay, but like, here's the thing. I know Aaron Rodgers is a bit of a weirdo, right? Like, I see all this stuff, all the crazy stuff that he does. But I'll be honest with you, I don't know if anyone loves Aaron Rodgers more than I do. I am a massive Aaron Rodgers fan. Even when he was with Jets, you could tell last year he was still hurt. He couldn't move in the pocket.
Yeah.
He was just trying to sling it. Their defense sucked too. Like everyone's hard on him their defense was brutal.
Mm-hmm.
Bringing Devontae Adams there, just kind of a little bit of a show. They were never really getting it going. But if A-Rod goes to the Steelers, I'm buying a Rodgers jersey and I'm flexing. I can't wait for it. Because here's the thing. They're not going to win. They're not going to win with Russ, for sure.
Yeah.
They just brought in DK Metcalf.
Yeah.
And they got Pickens.
And Fryer.
So I'm like, get Aaron Rodgers in there. If he doesn't win and he does brutal, that's what they're going to do with Russ anyways. And then they get a draft pick and you probably got to rebuild it anyways. But for a 1-year thing, I'd love to see Aaron Rodgers. I know him and Coach Tomlin have a great relationship. Seen them messing around on the sideline a little bit last year, winking at each other. And so, I'd like to see it. I mean, if there was better options, trust me, I know he's a little bit past his prime and maybe doesn't have the foot speed and in the pocket like he used to. But I watched him a few games last year. He still slings it like a madman. He can really sling it. And who knows if that Achilles is 1 year better and he can move a bit. Like when Aaron Rodgers was really, really good and borderline unstoppable, he moved in the pocket as good as anybody. He was fast. Yeah. And so I think he lost a bit of a step there, but I'd love to see it. Hold on a second. Hold on 1 second here.
Yeah. Hold on 1 second here, folks. Oh, and he's got a Ryder chair. Look at that. He's got the Ryder logo in behind there. I love it. Oh.
I'd love to see it. Okay. Give me A-Rod. Give me A-Rod on the curtain for 1 year. I want to see it.
I just bought a LaDainian Tomlinson autographed helmet. I can't wait for it to come
Beauty.
in. Yeah, it is. What is that one autographed?
No, I got this from my buddy actually that works at like Red Bull. Got a Steeler helmet. He sent it over to me. So
yeah, I applied for the Steelers radio job too.
I had it in my bar when me and Bo did our podcast. I had the curtain helmet in my bar. So
yeah. Hey, so question for you on Bo. Let's wrap up there. Bo Levi Mitchell. I'll tell you what. If the CFL actually wanted to spend money marketing their players and promoting their players, that would have made for a great... Zach Collaros would be the greatest 30 for 30 of all time, just how he came back from everything. But Bo Levi Mitchell got run out of Calgary, and he got benched. And only because of injury does he come off the bench and be the stud that you kept texting me all season. Guy's a stud. If he gets back on, watch out. Every week you're like, look at my boy Bo. How much do you guys talk and, pump each other's tires? Because you're like, listen, I talk to you, you talk to me. I would consider myself a decent broadcaster, but I'm not a high-level athlete. So high-level athletes talk to high-level athletes. Brain surgeons talk to brain surgeons. So, like, what do you guys talk about besides the bullshit?
It's funny. I talked to him lots during his season because I was following, and he was doing great, and I knew he'd kind of been taken through the ringer a little bit there of, his first 2 years in Hamilton not going the way he wanted it to go, and he left a lot of opportunities on the table with other teams that wanted him as well, and then when he got back in there and really started lighting it up and finding his groove with his new receivers and just kind of figuring it out, I was just super proud of him. He's a buddy of mine, and we were real close for a couple of years there before he took off. So we're going to be friends forever. But he's busy too. Wife, 2 young kids. They're busy wheeling around Hamilton. They're living in South Carolina in the off season here. That's where his folks. That's where his folks live. So they're down there. I've kept in touch with them. Mostly over golf. We talk about golf and how his golf game is, and ask him how the shoulder is and all that kind of stuff. And they made some big off season moves. They get Kenny Lawler.
Yep.
And so talked to him about that and the new team, and seems really excited. He got a raise after, should have won the MVP last year. He got screwed. But I understand it not making the playoffs. But he had a great season, and I'm just happy for him. I'm not, anytime somebody that's playing at a high level in any of these sports and you see them do good, they're always proud of your buddies, and it's always more fun to watch too if you know someone playing. And he sent me a nice message after we won the Brier, and so that was good to hear from him. But we're busy in our life. Maybe I talk to him. We send each other stupid Instagram reels and shit like that. But for the most part, I maybe talk to him every couple of weeks, maybe once a month.
You know what show I'm just hooked on now? Before we go, I know I'm way late to the party. Family Guy. I can't believe they get away with the stuff.
I don't watch Family Guy. I've never watched it.
Really?
Like never in my life have I ever watched Family
I
Guy.
just started. Like, I'll send you a couple of reels. I'll send you a couple, man. Like, I can't believe it's still on the air. Like, it's crazy, man. It is crazy.
I'm choked. That Yellowstone's over. I was hooked on that, and then
Yeah.
I was absolutely hooked on the new Landman with
Oh,
Billy
yeah.
Thornton.
Is that done, or are they going to do
No,
another
well,
season?
season one's done, but it was
Yeah.
like incredible. Like I
It was good.
binged it. It was amazing.
It
So
was good,
those
yeah.
are the last couple shows that I
You
watched.
watched
But
Tulsa King with Stallone, the Tulsa King?
no, I haven't.
Oh, check you. That's the Tulsa King is another
Movie?
one.
Is it a movie?
No, it's a series. Go do it, man. You're gonna love it. It's actually I was liking it better than Yellowstone. I like
Okay.
it. Yeah, and
I
then
might have to check it out.
you have to check that out. And there was one other one I was gonna recommend to you. Oh, I just slipped my. Oh, do you watch Reacher?
No.
Oh, you gotta watch Reacher too. Reacher and Tulsa King. Do it after you win the Worlds.
Okay, I love it. I love it. I
Man.
got something to dial into.
Yeah, when you're retired, you got lots of time coming up here. Hey, man.
Yeah.
Thanks. Hey, by the way, tell them at TSN they got to go back to the old bumper music. That like they got rid of that. You know that bumper music, like when they come back, they got rid of that. They got some stupid bumper music. I hate it.
Yeah. Believe it or not, the athletes do not get to choose the jingles on TSN.
See you later, bro. Thanks.
Okay, buddy. Cheers.
Maybe the best commissioner in all of sports because he also acts like a reporter because he knows everything. It's like I can go to him as a pundit and he's supposed to be and I think he is unbiased. So because he is the commissioner, it's Kyle McIntyre of the SJHL. Welcome to the show. Let's dive right into it here. Weyburn Battleford's the only series in the first round that's even at one apiece. Let's talk about that series a bit.
Well, and what a series it is. It matches up super well. You have two teams that play a similar style and they can score, they can hit, they can skate. I went to the game Saturday night. It was super fast paced. Probably not the game that Cody Mapes wanted to play. He had won Friday night 4-3, and so another close contest. But Battleford came out all cylinders firing on Saturday night. Jumped out to a 2-0 lead right away. Weyburn did try to respond when it was 3-1 and made a bit of a game of it with the last 2 minutes, but it's going to be a real good series. It's probably going to go 7 games.
Okay, so I was actually at the car lot of Crestview Chrysler at a young guy in. He's from Melville. He's looking to buy a vehicle. That's neither here nor there. They'll come to Crestview Chrysler and buy one from me. I'd appreciate that. 306-526-7979. But what I found, we started talking about the SJHL actually, because I read sports in the morning in Assiniboine, and I read that Melville. Was it Melville or Yorkton? Was it Melville or Yorkton came back twice from 3-goal deficits? Then Yorkton wins in overtime 6-5.
Yeah, that was probably on Sunday night. So they went play Friday night. I was at the game Friday night. It was a super good game. It was back and forth, really, really fast. And the thing about Yorkton, so Yorkton tries to outscore its defensive deficiencies, and Melville is known as being a defensive team, but it was a real track meet on Friday night, and so Melville really got sucked in and started playing that open run and gun kind of offense. And same thing Sunday night. Saturday night, of course, they had Elvis Stoico in the building, and so the series had to be delayed a game and went Sunday night. Both Friday and Sunday, crowds of over 2,100 people. Michael, it was awesome. It is probably the series of the playoffs. Goes back to Melville tonight. I'm going to be attending that game. I know the people from Melville will come out and support Doug Johnson and the Millionaires, and it's a good series. It's probably going to come down to goaltending and some of the key players actually scoring, but hopefully Melville gets back to its roots, which is playing hard and strong defense to kind of limit this Terrier offense a bit.
Nothing like being in a sold-out SJHL rink, is there, in the spring? There's nothing like it.
Well, it's a great atmosphere. It's great for the league. It's great for the communities. It's great for the kids playing on the ice. It's really exciting. Probably the reintroduction of the dual-purpose cordless drills. A lot of people have these cordless drill air horns. That's been big ballsy. They kind of arrived in the playoffs last year. A good contingent of fans travels with the traveling team, the visiting team. So tonight, right across the SJHL, all the venues shift to the lower seeds, and I know all the buildings are going to be raucous. They're going to be packed, and things are going to be rolling.
Yeah, those are the ones like if you're down in Melville, you're down, or these other teams down 0-2 in a hole, you need to win this game. Like this is the series is basically on the line here. I mean, I know we could see miraculous comebacks, but you don't want to put yourself in that deep of a hole.
I think the key piece in playoffs, I heard this the other day, is you never want to lose at home, right?
Yeah.
Because you want to regain that home ice advantage. And so that's what all the teams will be looking to do tonight. Battleford, I mean, their series, they go and tied 1-1. Kindersley did play well the last two games, but got in some penalty trouble. So hopefully they've learned from that and will stay out of the box a little bit. Humboldt, Humboldt they have so much talent on that team. They just really haven't got rolling as a team, and I'm looking for them to break out. In fact, I thought if anyone from a lower seed was going to steal a series, it was going to be Humboldt over Flin Flon. So hopefully Humboldt shows up tonight and Kindersley shows up tonight. I know Melville will be ready to go. Doug will have those guys ready to go all the way. And Battleford playing at home ice, like you never know what you get with Battleford. They're a little bit Jekyll and Hyde. So some games they're just outstanding and they're fast and they're moving the puck and they're scoring. And then other days, there's not an interest in playing defense at all. So, I mean, yeah, it's kids, it's junior hockey. That sometimes happens. But I think the fans are going to be in for a treat right across the league.
They always say offense sells tickets, defense wins championships. So we're in the championship round. Can you, like you talked about York and you talked about Battleford's, can you outscore your mistakes in the playoffs? Like, can you do that as a recipe for success?
Well, I think you can do it in a short term. You might be able to do it the first couple of rounds. I don't think you can do it in the finals. I don't think you can do it at the Centennial Cup where everyone kind of goes up a little bit of a notch. It'll be interesting to see whether some of these teams can adjust on the fly. I think probably if any team adjusts on the fly, it's probably Melville. I think Doug has probably been reminding those guys that defense does win championships and you got to look after your own end and the rest will take care of itself. But York didn't really, they have some unsung heroes like Alex Zawatsky and Vinay Junik, a couple local kids from Yorkton who have been playing probably in that second and third line spot. They've been really good on the power play. Like Yorkton's power play has just been incredible. So I think the key piece in playoffs is to stay on the box and limit the special teams play because people will know that once you start playing that special teams games, it just throws everything into a bit of a loop, into chaos. You're not rolling your lines regularly. Guys aren't getting regular shifts. It changes the game. So I think the key piece is taking that face wash or taking that spear or that cross check and not retaliating because special teams are so important in playoffs.
So we heard a little bit of panic in the Yorkton area, end of last year, in terms of fan support and everything like that. So that's a nice, that's really a feel good story there in this series off the ice too.
It sure is. I mean, the community, and I knew they would do this because, I have some ties to Yorkton with the Terriers, but I knew the community loves hockey. I knew they would rally behind the Terriers. And, Calvin Takarik is their marketing guy. And although he's not a marketer by trade, he's a drywaller by trade, but he does some incredible in-ice, in-venue promotions and activities that really gets fans engaged and going. And every one of those fans, whether they're from Melville or whether they're from Yorkton, they had a good fan experience the other night. The building was loud. There's lots of air horns. They brought in a cement mixer with an air horn, which is a tradition in Yorkton. And I think there's probably more excitement in the rink than there was in 2014 when Don Chesney and Ed Zawatsky took them to the RBC Cup. So it's good. And it's an atmosphere that people play the regular season to get the playoffs because playoffs, even people that are casual fans, everyone from the community comes out and supports their teams. And so I know that they'll have a real crowd crowd in Battleford tonight and Kindersley and Humboldt and Melville.
Is that your one thing I don't like about some of the CFL, Montreal lets it happen. I think the Riders clamp down. Like I haven't been a fan of the stands for years, but they don't let you be as kind of Taylor Fieldish as they used to. And I'm all for making as much noise as you can. So like, is your cordless drill air horns and what you described in Yorkton, is that your version of the Vuvuzela? Remember that in the World Cup when they had those horns of the Montreal horns? Like I'm all for that. I know it can be annoying when you're really don't have a vested interest in either team and maybe just watching the game or listening to the game or at the game, but I like it. Adds to the atmosphere.
Well, it's funny. My wife and I also go to Swift Current Bronco games where we were season ticket holders for a number of years. And I don't know if I'm getting old, but I probably am. But I just find the noise for me is like you can't even talk to people, and you go to a game and you want to socialize a little bit. So as a commissioner, I don't sit right in the mix. Sometimes I stay high, or sometimes I'll go in a corner, or
Yeah.
sometimes I go visit with somebody in a box or something. But when you're right in it, you can't even think. You can't even talk. And I mean, it is exciting. It's great. Some municipalities do have kind of the noise bylaw thing and don't let you bring in the compressed air or the drill horns, but hasn't been in any of the rinks that I've been in the last few years, especially the Whitney Forum in Flin Flon. Like that is
Oh,
probably
yeah.
by far the loudest rink in junior hockey. Like it
Yeah.
is absolutely insane.
Yeah.
And so I'll probably get up to the Whitney here, probably the second round, because we got to hand out some league awards to Matthew Keeper, the goalie that has really
Yeah.
had a record-setting season in Flin Flon. So no, it's good. I enjoy it. The only thing we don't want is you don't want the air horns right by the bench.
Yeah.
Melfort has these kids called the trash can kids that sit a few rows behind the visitors bench with garbage cans and drumsticks, and they're pretty loud. And so every rink kind of has its group of people that makes noise, but there's always a line you got to stay on the line a little bit. You can't cross the line. I mean, it's great to support your team and be a fan, but as I say to people, be a fan and not a fanatic.
Do you run a bit of a risk when you're mingling with the crowd, like you're down in there and there's a bad call or it's a controversy, and they'll come up to the commissioner, Kyle McIntyre, and say, that is some bullshit. What's going on? You got to fix the refs. This league's a joke. Like, is there a fine line for you there, bud?
Man, believe it or not, there's pros and cons of being visible and being accessible, right? And people are always passionate, and it's not like I have a direct line to an official during a game, and it's not like an official is trying to misinterpret the rules or to make a bad call, and so people are passionate, and so you don't you don't argue the point with them, because I mean they're not going to see it the way that you would see it, but like playing a lot of hockey, coaching a lot of hockey, and being part of hockey, the officials are always trying to do the best they can do in the circumstance. The officials don't have the same sight lines that people have on TV or with video replay or what the fans would have in the building. And you know what? Just like players, like officials can have bad nights too. They have good nights. They have bad nights. I would have to say the first two games of every series right now, the first round, the officiating has been excellent. We have a number of officials that are being named to the Olympics right now. So Sienna Leifers is going to the Olympics. Alex Clark is going to the Olympics. Michelle McKenna is going to the Olympics. All those ladies do a lot of games for us, and especially in the playoffs. Ty Skeen, he's the guy that does a lot of games, gets a lot of international and national exposure. Bobby Millette, a guy from Regina, young teacher. He's going to go to the Centennial Cup this year. So we have a lot of real good officials. And believe it or not, people don't typically, if their team is on the losing end of calls or on the high side of the calls, they're not going to agree with officiating. But I mean, I would say from my perspective, the officials have done a pretty good job so far this year. And as it goes in playoffs in every league, the best officials continue to work as the series go on. And we kind of, the people that are struggling or not having good series, they don't typically continue to work. So, I mean, we send the best of officials available every single game. But I mean, yeah, back to your original question, on occasion, fans will come up with me and will disagree with the officiating or say that you got to allow 3 fights again, Commissioner Kyle. Like it's funny what people will say and do, but you know what? I know that people are passionate about their team, so you don't kind of take it personally. It's kind of water off your back,
Okay, so one last quick question. The only guy that might have a worse than you is Benny Walchuk, because he's the voice of the Terriers and Melville, right? Like that. Come on. I wouldn't touch that. I'm a broadcaster by trade. I wouldn't touch that with a 10-foot pole.
Yeah, Benny is he's pretty good. He's Switzerland. Like even when you put pressure on him on a one-on-one setting, he will not tip his hand as to who he's cheering for. But I think if I had to put money down, Michael, I would say that he probably bleeds Melville blue more than anybody. Yeah. But he does do a good job keeping the straight and narrow and being professional, because he's also calling games in Manitoba for GX94. So his allegiance is spread amongst probably 3 or 4 teams.
Okay, and lastly, what's your allegiance? I think he was part of Saskatchewan Cattlemen's Association picking the best rink burgers in the SJHL. So, as a commissioner, do you sample the burgers? Do you have a favorite rink burger, or will you just stay Switzerland on this one?
Oh, I'd like Jacob Faith and I, my director of marketing. So we tried to get to all the rinks. I probably got to about half of them.
Yeah.
Jacob did half, I did half, and some great burgers.
Yeah.
And like the scores that we have on our sjhl.ca are not really indicative of the burgers, I don't think, because sometimes you'll get a local marketing person or a coach or a trainer that might be a little bit biased. But for my money, honest to goodness, the very best burger in our league is probably the Melville burger.
Yeah.
They have the best onions, the best cheese, thick homemade kind of patties.
Yeah.
And really, a couple of years ago, Jacob and I were in Melville, and we kind of both had a burger before the game. And it was kind of like, man, we should do a sampling of burgers around the league and get that going. And so Jacob approached the Sask Cattlemen's Association and
Nice.
Sask Beef, and they were super gung ho with it. And a couple of their board members have gone to the different events with us, and some real characters, like some really good people. And my family, my wife, my in-laws, they're ranchers in East End around Ravenscraig, and so we're big proponents of beef. And if I had my way, I would have beef every single meal.
Yeah.
But so it was a really good event, and my wife was getting on me about raising my cholesterol and eating too many rink burgers, but in my view, there is nothing better than a well-prepared rink burger.
If you're gonna die, it's having a Melville burger watching the Terriers and the Millionaires. I mean, you can't go any better than that, I don't think. Oh, I know
that'd be awesome. That would be...
But here's the thing. If you die mid-bite, what's going to be dripping on your SJHL paraphernalia or memorabilia? Is it going to be mustard or ketchup? Like, what do you put on the burger?
Well, probably ketchup, but in Melville, like they do cheese and they do these fried onions that are just outstanding. So it might be a little bit of onion dripping on my shirt.
Okay. Hey, man, thanks for your time. Enjoy the playoffs.
Yeah, and you too. Great talking to you.
All right, before I get to my next guest, I want to thank Larry. I don't know how to pronounce his last name. I'm probably going to butcher it, but Larry D is all I'm going to call him. He picked up the Our Balls Are Bigger Ballsy Uncut shirt for $25. He actually threw in 30, the money going to the Love Life ALS Foundation. Glenn Love, a former CFL player, won a Grey Cup with Calgary, played with the Riders, played with the Alouettes, among other teams. He is battling ALS, and so we will give him proceeds of the shirt. Thanks to John Ryan, he bought $500 worth of shirts. So I'm giving out a couple here and there. And thanks to Larry for watching the podcast, listening, and donating to the cause. All right. This is a segment that I'm planning to run this year called Ballers. I'm Michael Ball. That's my son, Ethan Ball. And the one thing I heard after the combine, Ethan, is, that's what made me the proudest as a dad. And I will not apologize for being a proud dad with you and your daughter, or my daughter, your sister, Mara, is that you're good kids and good people. And that's what I heard from a bunch of CFL guys who came up to me and said, your kid, you did a great job with your kid. He's a humble, awesome young man. So thanks for presenting yourself well there. Let's start there. Did you, you're a kid, Regina kid, and you got to compete in a CFL combine in your hometown. How was that?
Yeah, it felt like a full circle moment for me. As you know, my football career has taken me down south to the States, to Calgary, across Western Canada, and I grew up in Regina, and that's where I learned to love the game of football. So it felt like a full circle moment coming back to Regina and finally getting to compete and play football in my hometown.
Were you overwhelmed at all by the experience? Like, were you tense? Were you kind of nervous? Did anything factor in there at all?
I mean, I think naturally you're going to be, because it's kind of a one-off weekend. Obviously, we're all good at football and we play football for a living, but the testing portion is something you never really get to do. So I think I was maybe a little bit tense for that portion of it. And maybe like the first couple reps of practice, and then you kind of settle in. It's like, okay, this is what I do. It's just another day on the football field. But I think maybe testing was the only thing that was maybe a little bit tense.
Well, I know you because I've been with you my whole life. You started on the vertical, and then you went to the 40, and I noticed you really weren't into the vertical. You were thinking about the 40, and the 40 didn't go the way you kind of wanted to. You had a time in mind. It didn't get there, but it wasn't a bad time. And then you went on to the broad jump. And tell that story, because your first broad jump basically sucked too. So, how did you reset? What'd you say to yourself?
Yeah, I think that was maybe what I was most proud of this weekend, maybe besides the interviews, which was later on in the weekend. I ran the 40s. Like you said, they weren't necessarily what I wanted them to be. I don't think they were bad enough to hurt me in any way, and teams honestly look at that as such a small part of the weekend. But then I get to the broad jump. Like you said, my first broad jump isn't what I had in mind and what I did in training. And now I'm kind of thinking oh my gosh, am I about to just blow this whole weekend up? What is going on? Am I letting the moment get to me? I took a couple deep breaths. I'm like, okay, calm down, reset, refocus. You got this. I went out there. My next jump was what I expected it to be. I was like, okay, you're back on track. This weekend's going to go fine, reset. So I was really proud of that moment. And then, I thought I finished the testing portion strong, jumped well, ran well in the shuttle and the 3 cone, and showed that I was a good athlete overall. So I thought it was a good showing on Friday.
Yeah, and it was. How did you feel about getting the publicity you got? I want to thank Taylor Shire from the Leader Post, Dave Thomas he's the voice of the Rough Riders, friend of mine.
Lee Jones.
Britton Gray did a great job with Green Zone. You had Lee Jones, and Jacob Carr interviewed you from Global. So thanks to all those guys. And I had nothing to do with it. I didn't I'm not, everybody's, you get favoritism because of your son. I had nothing to do with it. But how cool was that to kind of get highlighted in your hometown, because you did get the publicity because of that, because you were the only guy in the draft class, I believe, that's played both U Sports and NCAA, okay, at the highest level. So you're the only guy there. But other than that, no real fanfare. Had you been in Winnipeg or had it been in Hamilton, you probably wouldn't have got one interview. So how kind of cool was that to be in front of the cameras and the microphones here?
Yeah, it was cool. It just kind of felt fitting that, like I said at the start, it was full circle, and it was nice to get recognized that, hey, I'm back in my hometown, getting to do what I love and hopefully accomplishing my dream here in a month. It was awesome to get that recognition and be able to talk about, my family and why I love the game of football and my journey to getting here to this point at the Combine. So it was awesome, and I appreciate all those guys for reaching out and interviewing me.
And Grandma always uses the word providential. It is providential that it was in Regina, in the sense that it wasn't streamed by the CFL, and I won't go into that here, but that we could actually be there live to watch it.
Yeah, it was awesome that, family and friends got to come and support and watch the Combine. And like you said, with it being not streamed, a lot of guys this weekend were talking about in the hotel and stuff, family didn't get to watch, and maybe they'll go show them clips afterwards because we have it on our phones. But, they were just getting live updates online through the numbers that were posted and just them texting and calling. So it was really awesome that you guys got to be there and watch it and experience it and be supportive.
No, I don't. Listen, I'm going to ask you this. It's Ballers, because we're going to talk about different things, and you still have to kind of watch what you say. I get it. But you mentioned, guys are talking. Guys talk. How does that feel when it's not streamed and it's you guys put in all that effort? Okay, everybody put in effort. Everybody's a great athlete, but it's like a hidden secret. That's isn't that kind of weird on the athletes' end a bit?
I think so. I think as a whole, the athletes kind of feel okay, is this not a big deal? We've all worked our whole lives to get here. You would love for it to be made out to be a huge deal and be on the biggest stage. And I think it felt that way in Regina, but on a national scale, it maybe wasn't perceived to be that way because nobody else got to watch it. Even my buddies in the States are texting me hey, where can I watch this thing? I want to tune in to you and, Quincy Vaughn from North Dakota. And I'm there's nowhere to watch it, you guys. I'll send you clips afterwards. So I think, guys as a whole were disappointed that their family and friends couldn't tune in to watch. In Regina, it did feel like a big deal, and the setup I thought was actually really, really nice here in the Queen City. But yeah, like I said, it would be nice to be made a bigger deal on a national scale.
What was it like for you growing up as a Rough Rider fan? You've been around the game. I was the voice for 2 years, but I was the sideline guy and pre- and post-game show host for 18 years, and I always got you and your mom tickets to go to the games. So you, since you were little, I have pictures of you 7, 8, 9, leaning over the railing at Taylor Field in your Dressler jersey or whatever and getting autographs from the visiting team. what was it like to be in the rider facilities and before the bench or in the cold in the hot tub or sitting in their locker room and things like that as a guy who grew up here?
Yeah, it felt like a big deal, like I said, and it's my first time really actually being underneath in the rider, player facilities, and it was top notch. And guys have said that it compares to the NFL and the NCAA, and it really does. So it was nice to be able to use their locker room and their player lounge for meals, and the hot tubs and the cold tubs afterwards. So that was just a cool experience. And like you said, growing up a Rough Rider fan my whole life, sitting in guys' lockers that I've watched play, and it was overall just a really surreal moment for a kid from Regina.
So you never got brought in, but you never got interviewed by the Rough Riders because teams are limited to how they're going to interview guys. But I know the Riders are going to bring in Ram guys, and they have contacted you. Did you get any sense that they're going to bring you in the next week or so? Like furthermore to a quick conversation you had with Kyle Carson?
Yeah, I had a chat with him, and then GM reached out to me too when I was there waiting for my interviews with Ottawa Red Blacks. So I think here in the next couple of weeks, I'll probably be hearing from them, and that'll be a cool experience too. Like even if you don't get picked by the Rough Riders, obviously who knows how this process goes, but just to get interviewed by my hometown team that I grew up cheering for when I was a little kid will be a cool experience, and get to go in there and meet Coach Mace and some of the staff will be awesome.
So nobody can talk to really, well, there's a few, but you can talk to playing both. So you were on that field. And the one thing I said to lots of people, I talked to Jackson Finley's dad, Anthony, the former Rider. I talked to, his name's Peter Novak, Lane Novak's dad. Yeah, I talked to a few of them, and they were saying, well, what does Ethan think about the level of talent and everything like that? I said, if you're on this field of the 91, 92 guys, you deserve to be here, and they're all top of the top. So you played NCAA, okay? How does this talent compare to what you played with there?
I mean, I think it's top notch. Like you said, these are the best guys not only in Canada, but the best Canadians and some global players from across North America. So I think if you were there, you were amongst the best of the best, and I think it's top notch football. It compares to what I was playing down there. Obviously, there's some really, really high level guys that are going to go to the NFL, like Aston Genty that I played against at Boise State. But other than that, like these guys are right there with some of the best receivers that I've covered, in North Dakota and in the Missouri Valley Conference. So overall, the talent level was super high this weekend, and I think guys are talking about it in the media. This might be one of the deeper draft classes, athleticism-wise, we've seen in a long time. Especially
for DBs. I talked to a lot. They maybe have not seen a better class of DBs, from 1 to, 14. Like, that's a pretty good class. Yeah, they're saying it could be the deepest DB class in the modern CFL Combine era. I don't really know. I can't go back, 10, 15 years, but probably within the last 5, I'm confident to say that this is the most athletic group and probably the deepest there has been. Are you regretting being a defensive back? No. A team asked me that this weekend too. Hey, do you regret going to the defensive side of the ball or going to North Dakota and switching sides of the ball? I don't think you can look at it that way. People have always asked me that question. Oh, you would have been in the CFL as a receiver already, this and that. I made the decision I made. I got to experience some unbelievable things down south, meet some unbelievable people, play in front of 90,000 people in Nebraska, 40,000 Boise State, the Heisman runner-up, things kids dream of. So I don't regret it at all. And like I told the team, hey, I'm sitting in the same seat I wanted to sit in, if I was a receiver. So it all worked out the way it was supposed to anyways. Good answer. Ethan Jordan, you matched up with him, the guy from Laurier. I know you like challenges. What was that like going against the best receiver, outside of probably that Montana receiver that didn't make it to the Combine, but the best guy at that? And no disrespect to Weeb, because he's a great one. You covered him in Canada West at the U of S. But those would be 1A, 1B in my opinion. What was it like going against him most of the weekend? Yeah, like him and Weeb are definitely similar like athletes, like almost like little water bugs, I would describe them as, in the slot. And to me, like even more so than bigger, long receivers, those are tough guys to guard. So quick, it can change direction so fast. So that was a good challenge. And I think it served me well to show that I can hang in there and be step for step with a guy that ran a 4.4 when I didn't maybe run my best 40 time. So I think that served me well overall.
Even if a guy like that beats you on a rep, receivers probably should beat a DB in one-on-ones. And if you're there step for step for him with the best guy, I think it shows well on your part. So that was a fun matchup all weekend.
Yeah, and what was it like? The fun thing about football is meeting different guys. Like you got to meet more. Like Novak, you didn't realize Novak's family lives like 2 doors down from where I'm living right now in White City. Or Hundeby, you told me that's a really nice guy. Or Weeb, or some of these other guys that you met.
Yeah, 100%. Like I knew those USass guys were great people, but even just getting to meet some of those guys through Rob Fry, our agent, when we had our little client meeting and dinner. And then just even like some of the French guys and guys from Western who you would never get to talk to. It was just cool to kind of rub shoulders with them, pick their brain. I got to meet, Tachinsky from Manitoba. He's a great guy, great kid. So it was just cool to get to meet different guys from different backgrounds, and you're all coming together for one goal and one purpose. That part of the weekend was super, super fun.
You can put yourself in Tachinsky's shoes a bit because you were a receiver and you had to change in North Dakota, different game, different position, different everything. In COVID, parents couldn't move you down. The part you can kind of relate with Tachinsky is this guy's a quarterback who now they're asking him to be a receiver at even long snap. Like that is, that's quite a change for him.
Yeah, we talked about it. We were kind of changing our cleats and taking our shoes off there the second day of practice. And I was like, how's it going? He's like, oh, it's an adjustment for sure, but it's going well. And he's a great athlete. And yeah, it's crazy. It's even maybe crazier for him because he's switching at like the last possible moment at the CFL Combine when you're trying to showcase your athleticism and ability. So good on him for being able to switch to a receiver. And I was kind of calling him like the Taysom Hill of the Canadian Football League. They want him to play receiver, maybe be there as a quarterback. Can you long snap? Which I think is awesome and just shows his natural talent and ability. So I thought he had a good weekend too.
There'd be a few guys that if I interviewed them, they'd be able to talk about CFL because they're CFL fans. But most of those young kids, because of lack of exposure, are NFL fans, okay? How was it for you to be on a field in front of the Mike O'Shea's, the Buck Pierces, the John Huffnagels, those kind of guys watch, Brendan Tam and Bob Dice, those guys watching you with stop clocks or making notes as you're covering guys, or Noel Thorpe coaching you? What was that like?
Yeah, it was cool in the hotel, I guess, to start, just rubbing shoulders with different personnel in the elevator and just seeing those guys that I grew up watching on TV and on the Rider sidelines when they'd come as the visitors. And then when you're on the field, like, it is a little bit intimidating. It's kind of a crazy job interview that not many people ever get to experience, where you're basically in your underwear for half the weekend and guys are writing and taking notes on you and judging you on how you look and how you're performing physically. That's intimidating. And then the interview process was really cool, getting to meet those guys and shake their hand and sit down with them and talk about life and football. And it was overall a cool experience. I really enjoyed the interview process, and I think that's where I thrived probably the most this weekend because of my, experience watching the CFL game and kind of knowing some of the personnel and the guys already.
Do you think you sound like me? Because I had our old receptionist, Diane, at the radio station. She was doing dishes at her home and she wasn't watching. She was like, she could hear the TV. She goes, I swear that was you talking.
Maybe. I think you
don't want to is what you're saying.
I think your background in media definitely has prepared me to be able to talk in interviews like this, or with, the interviews I did this weekend, and then also chatting with the teams. I do think that was an advantage growing up, around that my whole life. I don't know if I sound like you, but I mean, I take it as a compliment, I guess. I wasn't trying to brag, but people said you sound like me. I don't really hear it, but I guess I'm too close to it, right? Yep.
Let's talk about some of the interviews. Mike O'Shea always walked the edge, and Mike O'Shea, I was on the sidelines when he tried to break Kenton Keith's leg one game. Like he tried to snap his leg in half because that's the way he played. And Mike O'Shea works the referees. I'm not going to back off that comment. Like, Mike O'Shea is the dean of coaching right now. He's like Wally Buono used to be. Wally, if you remember, could walk out 15 yards onto the field, never get a flag. Yep. That's what I think Mike O'Shea is. So I don't want to say I didn't like Mike O'Shea, but I didn't know how to take him. Do I like him? Do I don't like him? He's a bomber. I'm a rider.
Yep.
You know what I mean? But what were your impressions of the Winnipeg Blue Bombers and sitting in that? Because they had the most interesting one, didn't they?
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to give like too much away about the guys, but I thought he was a class act, and he was honestly super nice and very personable, and just wanted to get to know the guy. And we chopped it up about football too, and North Dakota, and some scheme things on, defense and what we did there and what I've experienced on special teams. But overall, like, he was just a really, really cool, down to earth guy. Same with the general manager, Kyle Walters. Like, it was just, that meeting was super cool. And like, he's one of those guys where you grow up. In the last 5 years, I've seen him in Grey Cups, and it's kind of cool to get to rub shoulders and shake his hand and talk to him. And like you said, like, you perceive these guys to be what they are on TV on the sidelines, but then you actually get to meet people, and it's like, okay, football is football, and then life is life, and you get to see what they're actually like as real people, and it sometimes is totally different than what you perceive.
Now, maybe it was just with you because we weren't in every meeting, but with you it was only those two guys. Then you were in kind of a room full with all the other guys. You were with Edmonton. What kind of vibe did you get from Mark Killam, who's in his first year coaching there? And they're trying to change things with Chris Morris, who we met on a recruiting trip, and I mean, they couldn't have picked a better guy to be a president. Just what was it like? Matthew, I think Matt Nesbitt was probably in that room, if I'm not mistaken, in your interview room. What was it like with Edmonton?
Yeah, I think it was cool to kind of compare how teams have interviewing styles. Everybody kind of has a different style of who's in the room. Some teams have an offensive and a defensive room, or the D staff's in one room, offensive staff's in the other room. Some teams, everybody's in the room. Winnipeg was a little bit different, and who knows how they change between guys that they're interviewing. But yeah, Edmonton gave me a really good vibe. I like JC Sherrod. Obviously, he was a stud of a player, and I think he's going to make a really good defensive coordinator. And I think, Coach Killam's going to be a great head coach in this league too. He has a good track record in Calgary, and I liked the vibe and the presence those guys gave off, and they seem like they mean business, and they're trying to turn that franchise around to what it used to be back in the day when they were winning all those championships. So, Winnipeg was great, and Edmonton was great too.
Okay, so I got that. This is cool. So the Ottawa Red Blacks interviewed you, and they gave every guy a hat.
Yep.
Now, Ottawa has my friend Brendan Taman in the room, Chad Hudson, also a friend in charge of their scouting and their video guy. You have Bob Dice, who's also been on the show before. Like, that wouldn't be a bad place to go, the Ottawa Red Blacks, in the nation's capital. I've been there. It's a beautiful city, man. It better be, because our tax dollars are there.
That's right. Yeah, I thought it was a classy move how they handed out hats to every guy they interviewed, and I thought it was cool. They had some old retro Ottawa Rough Rider hats that they were handing out, and guys got to choose what the hat they wanted. So I thought that was kind of a classy touch from that organization, and that interview was really cool too, getting to, you obviously know those guys from some of their past with the Rough Riders, but me actually getting to sit down and talk to them, and them getting to know me and me getting to know them was a cool experience as well.
Yeah, they asked if I'm going to sell you a car. And you should ask them if they'll give you a car for a signing bonus, is what you should ask them.
That's right. Well, you can sell me a car maybe in a couple of years when I have some money.
Yeah, that's exactly it. And then Montreal was another one you had. I found, as a dad, I found that intriguing that Montreal would. I know they've taken Philpott, Tyson Philpott.
Yep.
So is that intriguing to you, the Montreal Alouettes?
Yeah, I think every team is intriguing, and at this point, you just want a shot to play professional football. It's what you've always dreamed of. Montreal, it would be cool. I've never been that far east before, and I think that would be the biggest culture shock, probably for a kid from Western Canada and Regina in particular. But yeah, that would be a cool opportunity too, and that was an awesome interview, getting to see Danny Machocha and Jason Moss and the whole defensive staff, and they were all just different experiences and cool in their own right. And that one was cool too, because it's a French speaking city and a totally different vibe from every other team in the league.
Did you use a French line like I told you to use?
I didn't want to butcher it. I kind of told them, hey, I don't know how to speak French. All I really got is je m'appelle Ethan et toi. And they all kind of laughed. Like, you don't need to know how to speak French. And I was like, well, my girlfriend knows how to speak French. I could learn. So I don't know. That would be cool too. If you end up there, you got to kind of learn a different culture and a different language.
So I've covered this league a long time, and it's a little different when your kid's in it. So I was a dad there, but I'm watching it and I'm thinking, okay, so from the first round pick to the 8th round pick, there's not a lot of difference. You basically make the same money. Maybe there's a little more for housing or allowance, or however that works, right? But it's not like you drop, like if you ran a terrible 40 or whatever, didn't look so good. It's not like if you drop from the 1st to the 7th round, you're losing hundreds of thousands or millions of dollars. Okay.
Yeah.
But if you take a guy in the first or the second round, there's a pretty good bet, unless he really shits the bed, he's going to make the team. Okay, he's going to make the team in some form or fashion. So I really think they use these combines to kind of flesh out their roster, get to know the guys, and say, okay, would you, like, I would think, did you get asked, will you take a PR spot? Because that's what I think they want to make sure. They want to make sure that if they take you, it's not a wasted pick, like you're committed to going there and trying to hang around with the team.
Yeah, I think that's a big part of this process and the interview process is like, hey, if a lot of us guys, we have a year left of school and eligibility. Some guys maybe aren't done school, some guys are. You know, they ask kind of like, hey, if we're to offer you a practice roster spot, are you going to take it? Or if we send you back to school, are you going to try to come back the following year? Or are you going to hang them up? And I think you're right. You know, those picks from round 3 or 4 to round 8 are kind of rounding out your roster and seeing if guys really, truly love football and if they're going to be willing to stick around and be on a practice roster and try to crack the roster by week 8, 10, 11, or next year. And guys that are more so looking to do school and hang it up if they don't make an active roster right away. And as you know, as a Canadian, a lot of times the way you make the league is a practice roster. You get on a special teams when somebody gets hurt, and then boom, your number gets called, and all of a sudden you're playing. So I think that's a huge part of the process for these teams, and pretty much every team asks that question.
And what was your answer?
Yeah, I mean, like we talked about school, and I'm graduated already. I'm done school. I have my degree. You know, law school may be way off in the future, but like I told them, football is so short and the window is so small. And here and now, I want to play pro football. And if the fastest path is getting on a practice roster, that's what I'm willing to do. And I'd rather do that than, you know, probably going back to school and just taking classes to take classes.
Yeah, so, like, I wonder how tough a decision that is for you. We've had this conversation behind the scenes, but I like to do it so other people can think about it. Like, you got your degree. It's different than, say, like, I was talking to Novak's dad. Novak's got, I think, I want to say 6 classes left or something like that. Yep. So he probably, if he has a choice, he'll probably go back to school because he's not done. I don't want to speak for him. I'm going to hope to have him on here. But it's a different strokes for different folks, so to speak. So yours might be different than his. But you also, like, you played at UND and you played regularly, but not as many snaps as you wanted. That's why you came back to Calgary to play. So you haven't and you got hurt. You only had 5 games. You didn't play a full season. So at any point, it's like, okay, like I've practiced way more than I've played football since I left high school. Does that factor into, like, oh, maybe I want to play I want to play actual games because it's fun to play football games?
Yeah, I mean, I guess it does, and time will tell. I'm going to, you know, hopefully you get drafted, you have an amazing camp, and you're on an active roster, and you don't got to worry about it. So I guess I'll kind of cross that bridge when it comes, and then I think it kind of depends on situation too, right? And you got to talk to the team, the agent, maybe even your college coaches, what's best for my development and where do you see fit, and am I going to get a chance to get in an active roster maybe down the line this season? So I think so many different things factor into it, and you just got to kind of wait to see when that time comes. But I understand what you're saying. Like, at the end of the day, you want to play football. You don't just want to practice. And then you got to ask yourself too, like, what's it about for you? Is it about playing pro football, or is it about just having fun and playing football in general? So I think you just cross that bridge when the time comes.
What is it about? What is it for you? Well, I think I know what it is for you. Your mindset's a little different than some other guys who, you know, I don't know if I want to go to Regina. I don't know what's there to do in Regina? What's there to, like, I want to go where there's a bigger place to go play, but you're not making NFL money to be, you know what I mean? Like, what is it about you, for you? Yeah.
I think it's, if you want to go to a place where football matters in the city and within the organization that cares about winning, really. And, you know, I think guys overlook spots like Regina or Winnipeg or these different places, and some guys want to go. Their spot is like, I want to go to Vancouver, I want to go to Toronto, I want to go to Montreal, and you know, I would too. Like, I want to go anywhere. Like I said, you just want to play pro football, and there's maybe not a preference there, but I think some guys dismiss it and they're like, there's nothing to do in a Regina or a Winnipeg or this and that. But I think there's so many different things that go into it. It's like, where's my best chance to play? You know, where is it going to be most expensive or cheap to live? Like, where can I save some money? Because you're not making, you know, millions of dollars every single year. You know, the facilities, how much do fans care in the city? Like, do you want to be a big deal or not a big deal? I think there's so many different things that factor into it. And at the end of the day, it's a draft. You don't get to choose where you go for your first couple of years, at least, until free agency hits. So you kind of go where you go. I just think sometimes guys have misconceptions of, you know, the big city life when, you know, a Regina and some smaller cities in Canada aren't so bad.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so did any team give you like a poignant question where like you were like, you know, did they put you on the spot? Like, how are you going to make this team? Or what are you going to do? Or what do you bring to the table? Or why did you quit North Dakota? Like that type of stuff.
Yeah, I mean, every team kind of wanted to know, you know, my football journey and my life journey. I think these guys, at the end of the day, you think they watched enough film on you and they know what kind of football player you are. And at this point is getting to know what kind of guy you are and why you've made some of the decisions you've made in your past. And for me, it was like, hey, why did you switch from receiver, you know, committed to Calgary originally and go to North Dakota as a safety? Why did you, after 4 years, decide to come back to Canada? Why did you play boundary halfback and not free safety? So I think it was just kind of getting to know some of those questions throughout the interview process, and every team kind of wanted to know similar things. I don't think there was one question in particular that ever tripped me up or anything. It was more so just broad questions of, hey, how do you study the game of football? What are you doing? You know, if we draft you, what's your mindset day one of training camp when you come into this, you know, this franchise and organization? I think it was more so just general questions to see where a guy's head at and his focus is at.
So after it's all said and done here, how do you feel about your weekend? And do you think you did enough to have your name called or at least scroll across the screen before the 8 rounds are up?
Yeah, I think overall it was a really, really solid weekend. There's always the debate, can you really hurt yourself this weekend? Can you really help yourself? I think as long as you don't put up an abysmal performance, you're not going to, you know, absolutely tank your draft stock and nobody's going to touch you. I think you can help yourself. And I think overall I had a solid weekend. I put up, you know, an overall athletic performance in the testing, I thought. And then on the defense side of the ball, I think I showed that I'm athletic and you can plug and play me at safety or either of the halfback spots against, you know, the best competition there was out there this weekend.
Hey,
So,
go ahead. Sorry, finish off.
no, yeah, so I'd give myself, I'm always hard on myself, but I'd give myself a pretty good grade this weekend. And I think I did do enough ultimately to get my name called. And then the next step is cracking a roster in May.
So what's your mindset? Like, do you just, is a whole month away? It's kind of like, it's like you're waiting for Christmas almost, right? Or something like that.
It is weird because you're so focused on the combine. Combine comes up fast. It's gone now. You know, the last 2 days I was pretty exhausted. You kind of give yourself a chance to breathe. I think this week is just getting back into it, you know, stretching out, feeling good again, and just reflecting on my whole football journey and being grateful and having gratitude towards that and being proud of myself. And then, you know, you got to get back to work, and you know, the draft's April 29th. You get your name called, you better be ready to go in a week because that's when rookie camp starts, I think May 5th. So you could be on a plane or driving somewhere within 3 days and you better be ready to go. So I think you give yourself a week and a little bit here to relax and be proud of yourself, and then it's go time again, foot on the gas.
Yeah, absolutely. Hey, one last thing about the PR. So you don't make a lot of money, but you're making money. I think a lot of people forget about this. Student athletes are student athletes for a long time. And yeah, they might get some scholarship money. You were fortunate to get more than most in the United States, okay? Yep. And then you come to Canada and it's just, it's a different world. And it's hard to work a second job. Or to work a job, because, well, it is a second job, because being a student athlete is a full-time job. People don't really realize that. So you rely a lot on your parents, the bank of your parents, okay? I know, okay? Yeah. All right. How much of that is, you know what, I want to earn my own money now. Like, I don't want to be on the tit, so to speak. I want to actually be I feel like I'm a contributing member. Now, like, you're working at Loblaws, you're working the docks like Bon Jovi would sing, right?
That's
you're
right.
working Loblaws, right, just to kind of make some money. But you want to be like, you want to be a professional now. You want to make some money, right?
Yeah, I think it gets to a point where, you know, you've played college football for 5 years. It's great, unbelievable experience. Some people say it's, you know, the best experience of your life, and it was awesome, and I'm super grateful for it. But like you said, it gets to a point where it's like, okay, if I'm doing this football thing, I want to be a professional, and I want to make money for doing it now. Like, yes, stipends are cool and getting your classes paid for is awesome, but it comes to a point when you're graduating, you have all those things in the bank. Like, I want to make money for doing what I do now and laying my body on the line. So I think yeah, there comes a point in time where I want to start cashing checks every weekend, and you might not be getting rich, but I want to make a living doing this if this is what I choose to do.
Ethan, thanks, man. I don't care where you get drafted. If you get drafted, I'm proud of you as a dad. And you know what? You are a good speaker. You're pretty. I like this. I think this segment could go somewhere.
I think so too. So
like I picture ballers. I picture Ethan Ball on a team, maybe even the practice roster, and then we invite, I don't know, we invite maybe Cody Fajardo or Terrell Ford or who knows on Ottawa, or like whoever picks you. I think that we could have a fun, and that's how you promote the league.
I think so too. I think stuff like this is awesome and giving people an inside look. And then, I'll go do my part hopefully here at the end of April and May and make a roster, and then we can continue doing this thing every week and giving people what they want to see.
Yeah, and you know what? I have you on because you're a good speaker and you are my kid, and I know there's comfortability, but I want to have every kid on. I've asked a lot of kids to come on, and they were kind of hesitant. They just wanted to be focused on the combine. So coming up, Jackson Tuchinski's going to be on. I'm trying to get Novak, Hundaby, Delaney Robinson. Like, I want to highlight some of these. Boschman was on before, Finley. I like highlighting all these guys, man. They do, like, I believe you guys deserve the publicity, and like I said, every parent should be proud of what their kids did out there. Like, I think everybody showed well. I didn't see anybody that didn't deserve to be there.
Exactly. And like you said, whether you're the first overall pick or you're the last pick in the draft, as long as you get to a training camp, the work's just starting, and you got to try to crack a roster no matter what pick you were. So
even free agent's not bad. You can go where you want.
Yeah, you can go where you want. Like I said, as long as you get to a training camp, no matter the avenue or the path, you got a chance to do what you want to do and live out your dream, and the work is just starting. So I think everybody should be proud of this weekend. It was a lot of fun, and hopefully I get to see all those guys at the next level here in a couple months.
Thanks, Ethan.
Thanks, Dad.
Okay, just give me a second here. Just going to wait till this loads. Yeah, that was a good one. We didn't cut anybody down. He's Justin Mondor. He is the owner, along with his wife Chantel, of Brickhouse Gym on Osler Street in Regina. I go there, love it. Best gym probably in the province. Now, I say probably because I haven't been to every gym in the province, but I can tell you it's the best one in Regina. Now, this is not, we're not talking like weightlifting. We're talking about weightlifting at times, like we did last week with full extension so that you're getting stretching in while you're lifting weights. First time out, we talked about creatine. And today, Justin, we're going to talk about giving blood, something that I'm not a fan of. I should because I've got the rarest form of blood, but I don't like needles. I've never liked needles. I mean, come on, don't be a pansy, Ballsy. Like, just turn your head and don't. I get it all. But let's talk about giving blood from a health standpoint. But first, let's start. Obviously, you're going to give blood because it's the right thing to do, right?
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. There's so many aspects of it that sometimes are overlooked. I mean, the generosity of giving the blood for people that need it. I mean, there's lots of cases out there of, people that are deficient in, red blood cells or low on iron, all kinds of reasoning. I mean, and the Canadian Blood Services is always on the lookout for more people. I mean, so one thing we're going to talk about here is the benefit for us, especially as men, but also it's the other people that are going to benefit from something that we can also benefit from. So there's two sides to that coin.
So Justin stops me in the gym. He goes, "I got a great topic the next time we talk. It's about giving blood." I said, "Did you switch jobs?" And he's like, "No, but it's important, especially for guys." Now, we're not discounting women, but women have a cycle that they go through, a natural cycle where they bleed. But men don't, unless Justin Mondor, I say something to him and he punches me in the gym and I start bleeding. That generally doesn't happen. So let's talk about the health benefits of giving blood, because I thought it was a good point you brought up.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, it's often overlooked on what really happens with the bloodstream. I mean, it's a closed loop system that doesn't have anywhere to drain. I mean, I always love making car analogies, and that's my thing, and I've been doing that for years. Anybody can tell you that. But the thing is, like, you would never drive your car for a decade without giving it an oil change, right? So I mean, the blood system is much the same, and I mean, nobody's a perfect angel. There's people that go out and have a few drinks on the weekend or whatnot, or maybe you're a system of the environment. You breathe something in that's maybe toxic. Those kind of things can float around in your bloodstream, whether it be like heavy metals, anything like that. So somehow trying to get it out is also important. And if it's a closed loop system, where is it supposed to go, right? So in the health business, it's not often talked about because it's just kind of a thing. But yeah, donating blood, they're going to take out half a liter. Our bodies hold about 8 liters. So half a liter is really just a small dent. But, if you do that often enough, you can actually like fully replace your blood with new clean stuff. And then if you aren't yet on a health and fitness journey, and maybe you've stopped drinking or whatever activities in your life, you need to somehow like think about, okay, it's time for that oil change to get some fresh stuff in there. And our bodies can regenerate new blood within, a couple days. So it's not like you're going to go deficient for a month at a time, anything like that.
So I want to throw a curveball at you, just besides blood. Just popped in my head. I was at the gym with one of my buddies. He's up there in age. He's 60 years old. I'm proud of him. He's been working out hard the last little while. Okay, watching what he eats. He thought he was going to have diabetes, but he doesn't. Anyway, he said, my joints are aching. I'm getting some aching joints. Okay, so the blood. Changing out the blood is going to help you feel better, rejuvenate everything. But we talked about creatine. Is there anything, and we know creatine hydrates the muscles. Is there should a guy be taking fish oil, or what should a guy be doing for his joints? Is there any supplement that he could take for his joints?
Yeah, I mean, the basics. I mean, fish oil, I mean, you could even do it without supplements, just a cleaner diet. I mean, considering that all kinds of fats are healthy for you, fish oil is like kind of the standard protocol, but like somebody that's complaining about joint pain, it could just be as simple as he's not drinking enough water. And it's often overlooked, especially as men and we get older. I've met some men that tell me they drink a glass a day, and I kind of just have to like literally bug my eyes out and think, what the heck, 1 glass of water a day? But that is a huge thing for sure. Is just hydration is the staple. Once you fix that, then you can go down the line of the supplements, because if you don't fix the core thing of what's causing that, adding a supplement really is only a band-aid for a temporary problem.
Okay, and lastly, to wrap up the blood thing here, so you said how much comes out generally when they take the blood out?
They'll take approximately half a liter, right? So I mean, it's not a lot, but it's good. And you can do that every 56 days at maximum. But I mean, it doesn't mean you have to go, every 56 days to think you're on a health journey. If any guy that wants to start trying this today, there's absolutely no downside to it. But even if you planned on doing it, twice a year, would be a huge health benefit and make you feel a lot better pretty much instantly. So, I like to go myself every 3 months. That's just my preference. But if you could at least go, I mean, at the bare minimum, go once a year, then that way, technically over 16 years, you've replaced all 8 liters of your blood. But you want to speed that up, you can go more frequently.
Hey,
not only that too, when you sign up for the Blood Services app, they'll give you some markers on your blood results that could point out some potential issues or ways to improve your health too. So there's a lot of perks to it.
Awesome. And you get a snack at the end too.
Yeah, you can get not the healthiest choice of snacks. Like I bring my own electrolyte drink mix, but I'm not gonna.
Isn't that interesting? You go to the Blood Services for health for other people, and they give you the most unhealthy snack at the end.
I mean, there's choices. You can get a nice little granola bar and an apple juice if you really wanted to, but they have some pops and some candy bars too, for sure.
Yeah. Hey, Justin, thanks for your time, man. I appreciate it.
Absolutely.
Go check out the gym. It's Brickhouse Gym on Osler Street in Regina. Thanks for your time, bro.
You betcha.
All right, we're joined by the Wizard. Wizard Takes. It's at Wizard Takes on Instagram. Now, do you have the Wizard? Do you have like X or Facebook or anything, or is it just Instagram?
Yeah, I do. I do have an X, but it's mostly just Instagram that I run because that's where a lot of the business is, where a lot of people go. So it's mostly Instagram, but maybe we'll think about X and
Yeah,
Facebook once we get bigger.
you got to get everything out there, buddy. So tell me a bit about your sporting background. You're big into CJFL football, but what's your sporting background? Like, why the love of football?
Yeah, so I was growing up. I was not that much of an athlete, so I kind of played all sorts of different sports and kind of wound up with football. So played a great about 8, 9 years of football. Absolutely loved it. Easily my favorite sport. And then once once I got done, I kind of there's a void where I wasn't really involved in the game, kind of just hanging out. So I felt kind of a little empty without football in my life. So I was thinking about something I could do. I was thinking about the whole time before I started Wizard Takes, how could I get involved? How could I get involved? Then all of a sudden this opportunity came where I was talking to the CJFL. I didn't really like their all Canadian decisions about a couple of years ago. So I commented, I'm like, hey, you guys, we should do a fan vote, give the fans a percentage of the say. So they responded back to me and said, oh, that's a great idea. Why don't you administer the fan vote? So then, me being me, I decided to take that on, and ever since then, the Wizard was born.
I mean, that's awesome. So you were a foot like you because of injuries or whatever. You're telling me before we started to roll the camera here that you didn't get to play for the Thunder, but you also didn't really realize you could maybe go somewhere else and play football, right?
Yeah, that was the thing. So I'm from southern Saskatchewan, so the natural progression after football would have been for the Thunder, but I was coming out during the COVID, so didn't really have much film, and then we did have a spring season, but I got pretty banged up, so I really had like no film, so the Thunder was never really an option, and I didn't really know much about the BCFC or the OFC, so I didn't really realize that I was could have went out and played for a team. So that's kind of part of the reason why I'm promoting Wizard Takes so much, and why I'm helping so many guys get out and find a place to play, because I think football's for everyone. Like everyone should be involved in the game, whether all ages. I know Alberta's, they got big men's league, the WWCFL, they got a great league for women. Like I really just love football, and I want as many people involved in it as possible.
Yeah, so Wizard, it's funny because I've been banging this drum for a long time, and I know you follow my stuff, and a mutual friend said you should get the Wizard on. He wants to come on and talk, so that's great. Like, we don't do enough for promoting Canadians. Like, you look at here, even at the Combine, like, if you ask the average person in Regina, I could tell you, I could tell 10 people, 8 of them don't even know the Combine's taking place this coming weekend in Regina, which I think is absolutely pathetic.
Yeah, no, I agree 100%. That's why I want to come on your show, because I've been following you for years, dating back to the Sports Cage days, and you've always been such a great advocate for grassroots football, especially in Saskatchewan. So I know you play junior football. You and Avery LeBlanc are doing an amazing job covering it for Access. So I really thought it was a good opportunity, because you're really one of the pioneers of the space and have really been promoted. And I agree 100% with the Combine. Like, I've been in talks with people, and a lot of them like don't even know what's going on. Like it should be open to the fans. Like we should be having people at the Combine excited for it, because you see in the NFL, it's this big huge deal, this big production, and then the CFL, like there's not a lot of word about it. Like a lot of people don't even know it's happening this week.
Which is crazy, Wizard, because we're in agreement here. I don't have to convince you. I'm speaking to the choir. I believe the 3-down game is the best form of football on the planet. Yes, you have really good athletes in the NFL, like elite athletes, for about the top 7 on every roster. But after that, CFL and NFL rosters are pretty comparable. And I think the most underrated products are U Sports football and junior football. Some of the most fun games I've watched or called junior football games. What do you like about junior football?
Well, the thing I love about, and I agree with you with U Sports, that's some amazing football too. All the football up in Canada is amazing, and it doesn't get enough respect. But the thing that kind of drew me to junior football was kind of just like a lot of these players know that they're not going to, like, a lot of them aren't going to go off to U Sports, a lot of them aren't going to go off to the CFL. This is their final time playing. And yet they're still investing time, like hours and hours, like a huge schedule. Like I know the Thunder and Hilltops practice all throughout the off season, have their team workouts, practice pretty much like from like 6 o'clock to like 10 o'clock. They're dedicating all that time. And when they know they're not, a lot of them aren't going to go past this. Like, it's just for the love of the game. And you could see that when they play. Every single play is given out 100%. Like, these guys, like, they just love football. I think they're like the embodiment of like what we are as Canadians. Like, they just go out there, go to work, and it's a really great thing, and that's why I'm happy. We've been able to give them more coverage because these players certainly deserve it.
So at your Instagram handle, at Wizard Takes, I know you do rankings, and I just saw one here before I came on. You mixed in some of our highlights, too, on Access with Stephen Smith, the former Thunder player who was with the Riders and now with the Toronto Argonauts. But just talk to us, give us some examples verbally here on what you do to promote not just PFC, but all of CJFL football.
Yeah, I try to do everything. That edit was made by Argos News on Instagram. He's doing a great job. We've been working together, so I can't take the credit for that, but I got him to do a highlight for Stephen Smith. But basically what I try to do on Wizard is just like all things like, it's mostly junior football, but I've been dabbling into some other football, like senior men's team Canada, like women's football, Atlantic football. But for the junior side, I mean, I kind of started just like doing what the CJFL usually does with like the fans, all Canadians, like ranking the players. But then I eventually found a lane where I'll just like, post highlights, post coach rankings, player rankings, team rankings, like all sorts of stuff, like report the news in the CJFL. Like I'll post, like some CJFL guys to go to U Sports, like that. Those posts always do good numbers. I kind of talk about the history. I did like a quarter century team for the PFC, the BCFC, and the whole CJFL. So pretty much like anything. Like I'll just be sitting in my house, I'll just think of an idea and I'll post it. It's like nothing's off the table. Anything I could do to better promote the league is what I try to do, and I've evolved over time with my posts. So I think this coming year, especially with the support of the Ontario Conference, it's going to be an even bigger year for me. So I'm looking forward to it.
Well, I smell a collaboration between the two of us. We can pump this up even more. What do you say?
Oh, I'd be down for that. I'm always down for a collaboration with anyone, especially, a legend in the game like you. That'd be awesome.
I don't know about that, Wizard. Anybody that's named the Wizard shouldn't be calling a guy named Ballsy a legend, but I appreciate the kind words. So if they want to follow you on Instagram, it's just at Wizard Takes?
Yeah, just at Wizard Takes. That's all it is.
When did you do that? When did you do that quarter century team?
I did that in about January. I can't remember. I think I did the Prairie Conference and the whole CJFL. I can't remember if I got to BC.
Okay, so I'm gonna get you on. We won't do it today because I don't want to put you on the spot. But let's go. We'll rewind it the next time I have you on, maybe in a couple of installments, and we'll go through that PFC rankings.
Yeah, no, that'd be a blast. I know I caught some heat for some of the rankings, but like it's hard to find a lot of information about the old days of the CJFL. So I was just doing what I can. I do what I can with what's given.
You tell them to shut up, man. There's no such. My broadcast professor said there's no such thing as bad publicity as long as they're talking about you. When they're not talking about you, that's when you got a problem. So no, man, I got your back. Rankings, hey, they're open for debate, and it gets people talking, and that's what we want. So once again, go follow this guy at Wizard Takes. By the way, where do you live in southern Saskatchewan? Can we at least tell him that? I won't tell him your real name, but where do you live in southern Saskatchewan?
Yeah, so I'll just tell him. So I'm originally from Yorkton, Saskatchewan. Okay. So I played football there, but I'm living in Saskatoon now because I go to university here. So.
Oh, nice, man. And what are you taking in school?
I think this will come as no surprise to anyone that knows my stuff, but I'm in business right now, just finishing up my final year, so we got finals coming up, so maybe the Wizard content will slow down, but once that's done, we'll be wrapping it up for the season. So. Okay,
man. Well, I'd love to have you on again. Thanks for taking time out of your schedule. Appreciate it, Wizard.
Yeah, anytime. Really thankful for the opportunity and hope this is the first of many to come.